You know what I bet? I bet I didn't save it when I went to print it off.
Yeah. And they're not in the year-to-date, the numbers aren't in the year-to-date totals either.
Let me see if I can.
Unless I grabbed the wrong, I kind of grabbed everything wrong. I bet when I, sorry guys. Huh, I'm still trying to think. I know I did it. Hmm.
Mary, can you hear us?
Jay?
I don't know.
Is it
No.
blank?
No.
We'll have to have two reports.
Mary, can you hear us? She might be waiting.
Is John gonna be here?
No.
Okay.
It is 5.
Yep.
No, Mary says she can hear and see us, but we can't see her. All right. Let's see if she's gonna just jump out and jump back in.
Okay.
You can, if you want to show them, I mean,
Huh?
at least that, you can at least tell them what it was. I mean, I must just not have saved it when after I did the columns, I guess. I don't know what I did. But that tells you what everyone did. I could hurry up and write it in for you.
Mary, we can't hear you if you're talking.
That shows she's in the meeting.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing, she's gonna try from her phone,
Okay.
and if not, I'll just call her. I'm gonna just try hanging up, leaving the meeting. Mary, I don't know what's going on, but if you can hear me, I'm gonna call you.
Linda, don't you have a new grandbaby recently?
They're both almost a year old. I have.
Really?
Yeah,
Already?
Yeah. I know.
Wow.
I have 9 total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're way ahead of me.
Hey, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, can you hear us, Mary? Mary? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Let's try one last thing. I'll just call her from my phone.
Hello, can you hear me?
We could hear you, but we're apparently having problems transmitting to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I was able to see.
I don't either. Anyway, I'll put you on speakerphone here and we'll just get we'll get through it and we'll go from there. All right.
Yep.
All right, after much technical difficulty, Jay, the floor is
Yeah,
yours.
we'll go ahead and call the meeting of the June meeting of the Board of Aviation Commissioners of the City of Warsaw to order. You should all have received your documents through Board Pack. First thing being the May 11, 2021 meeting minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented with the cost of sales on the expense account to be determined later, evidently.
Now,
Nick, are you there?
that'll be in the report later, so.
Yes, we are. Sorry, I just muted you for a second.
Oh, okay.
You're good now.
A motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, claims. Nick, anything particular you want to bring to our attention this month?
Nothing too much out of the ordinary. One you guys might have questions on, Taft Law Firm, that is for their work that they have done for us regarding the CIAC gross-up tax with AEP. Got a couple loads of fuel in, so there is an Ascent Aviation Group for $64,215.57. And other than that, pretty normal month, unless there's something specific I can answer for you.
What's the one above Taft?
Romine Construction, he's he's the gentleman that we've been working with to see if we can do any farming inside of the field. And we had to spray down one field that we had a lot of, last year we had to nuke the field and get rid of all of the Canadian thistle that was starting to grow up there and get rid of all of that. And this year we went through and seeded it and then put down some fertilizer as well to try and get a healthy grass crop to come back into there.
I thought we had somebody bailing.
He's doing part of that as well, but he's also helping with some of the other land management, since we don't have the tractor equipment for a lot of that stuff.
Are we, is Town Farm still?
Yes, and we'll talk, I'm glad you brought that up. We'll talk about it here in just a couple minutes
Okay.
in the manager's report.
Okay, any further questions for Nick about the claims from the month of May?
Nope. I make a motion that we accept the claims as presented, and especially the Ascent Aviation bill for $64,215.57.
I will second the motion to approve.
Moved and seconded to approve the
Claims.
claims. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay, next, engineers report. Mary, what do you have for us?
It's just so that I know what you guys have. Do they have the engineer's report that I sent you in front of them?
I'm pulling it up as we speak.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because it would be a little hard possibly to follow. So first up is runway 1836 rehabilitation update. CHA is finalizing our as-built record drawings for that, and we are working with the FAA and Findon Brown on the closeout documentation for that. So I know that we've mentioned in the past that we will be requesting a grant amendment for this project, and that is due to, if you remember back in the fall, there was additional dollars requested for, well, not really requested, but needed for soil stabilization once we unearthed some poor subgrade on the runway. It was about $100,000 that was needed for that additional work. So we're working with the FAA on that. And just the rest of the closeout documentation that the FAA requires. So we do have a pay request from Findon Brown in the amount of $54,162.45. And we do anticipate one more pay request just with final items and retainage. Most likely will be at the next board meeting. But for now, we just need approval on pay request number 5. And we have reviewed this pay request, and we do find that it is all in place.
And I just brought up the pay request. I did include it in your board packets, but just in case you wanted to see it, this was the breakdown.
Okay, so all reviewed and all ready for action, correct?
We're good to go.
I'll make a motion to approve Findon Brown pay request for $54,160, is that 62?
Yeah.
And
60.
45
Yep.
cents. App number 5.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion, other than my comments? Fender Brown always seems to do a good job for us, so I'm glad to pay them once all the paperwork is in order. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay, next
Alrighty.
up on your report, Mary.
Next up is the AEP power line project. Unfortunately, we do not have an update. We are still waiting for FAA. We have been told that the grant application has gone all the way to headquarters now. From my understanding and conversations with ADO manager Victor, the really holdup is, you all were allotted a certain amount of dollars for this project, and just because of steel pricing and how long this process has taken to get to the application, it was more than they had really targeted for you. So now they are waiting for other projects that were given money to come back and say, okay, we were given $1 million, we only need $900,000 or whatever. So they're really just waiting for some final numbers from other projects, so that they can move funds around to cover our project. So once we have an update on that, we will obviously send it directly to UJ and get that signature. But right now, unfortunately, it's still just a waiting game.
Okay, I also assume, Mary, that there is at least some possibility, because there's a possibility of everything in this pending infrastructure negotiations in Washington, for some of that money to be for airport infrastructure, so.
Correct. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
And then only update with the hangar door replacement is we did have a meeting, I apologize for the typo, with Robinson Construction, and that was just to discuss Robinson's approach for the electrical items that CHA has some questions on.
Okay.
Mary, this is Dan. Did you get all the information that you needed for that?
I believe we did, Dan.
Okay.
And it's a short week for us.
Okay. Anything else, Mary?
That is all I have.
Anything, does the board have anything else for Mary besides what we've asked already?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Managers report. Nick, up to you.
All right. Apologize about the fuel usage report, so you guys will get a double update next month, but quantity is definitely starting to go up. We are starting to see more transient aircraft coming and going. Based operations are staying about flat from where they've been, but transients are definitely starting to come in more, and I think that that will just continue as the summer months move on. I mean, we've got people flying in and out for the lakes. As far as, unless you guys have something specific you wanted to ask me, since I apologize, I forgot to get that updated for you. I did have something I wanted to bring up with you guys.
Just real quick, I assumed that in your discussions with other airports around the state that this trend in terms of travel and come back from the pandemic is probably universal. We're not having
Correct.
particular issues here.
No.
Okay.
No, in fact, for quite a while, we were doing really, really well with our avgas sales because we were the lowest in the state for quite a while. And then we got, because we set our fuel prices based on the price that we pay for the fuel. And because we bought it before the gas prices went up, we were able to sell it. I think we were selling it for $3.68 a gallon or something like that. This most recent load of fuel that came in, we're at about $4.48 a gallon, which is the average in the state right now. But until we got that new load, we were selling avgas like gangbusters. So,
Nick, on just the total revenue column, or down there on the combined, or
Yep.
the Jet A-100 and the combined, what are those numbers for me?
for revenue,
Uh,
if you look at the income statement underneath the fuel usage, you'll see the other, the cost of sales. And so you've got income from jet fuel sales was $54,338, and income from 100 low lead fuel sales for the month was $14,612. Do you see that on the top line there, Dan?
I think, see on the fuel usage report though. See on the income
Oh,
statement or?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
right here,
Yep, right there.
and those would be the numbers going in down here.
Yep. And I'll get that fixed up and sent out tomorrow morning for you.
That's quite a, well, is that net or is that gross?
And then, well, I was just gonna say, down below, you've got our cost of sales, and that is what we paid for that fuel. So really, we made $20,000 on our jet fuel, and it looks like we lost money on our 100 low lead because we had to purchase a load of fuel last
Yeah.
month, and that's why it looks as bad as it does. So when you go down to the bottom and you see that we were in the hole for $38,922, remember that part of that is $30,000 went to buy a load of avgas.
So that doesn't really,
We'll eventually get that back.
We'll get that back. Yep, we typically, we front the cost for avgas and then we pay ourselves back and put the extra
Yeah.
towards the next load, so.
Okay.
Other thing that I had to bring up with you guys, Dan, as you alluded to, Tom Farms had a 2-year cash rent on our land that was up in 2019. But because of the pandemic and prices and everything else, the board they offered to extend their lease at the same rate that they had been paying. The board looked at prices and made a decision to just go ahead and extend that lease because you felt that if we went out to bid, we would lose money on that. They have said that their lease is up again this year and they'd like to start getting those talks going. They were not sure if you would be interested in extending it another year, if you would like to go out to bid, or what you would like to do with that. And so, before we can get some of that paperwork drawn up, I just wanted to have a discussion and see how you were feeling and how you wanted to move forward with this, since it has been a few years since we've gone to bid for that.
In general, I like to bid. I want to see who else wants it.
Well, I know last year, Bob Bishop wanted to bid on it. He was disappointed that we didn't put it out for
Yeah.
bids. I'm assuming he still wants to.
Yep.
I know he farms the ground east and south of the airport right now.
We need a motion for that, or?
No, I could, we're not taking
Just
any
need a
action. I just-
directive.
I think the direction is, I think we'd like to bid it this time.
Can do. We'll get that around and we'll probably have that ready to go out here in the next couple weeks. And if you guys are okay with it, we'll get that advertised, because I know that farmers like to get those contracts in
Right.
place typically in August, September. So if there's any pre-planning, if Tom Farms does not successfully bid, they do not want to put in fertilizer and things in the fall, and the next farmer may want to come in and do some of that once the
Yeah.
crop has been removed. So
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
we'll figure that out. And other than that, we have an invoice for Robinson Construction under new business for a total of $50,913. This is for the hangar door, and this is just, the next part of the work has been complete. They have started construction. They are working on the foundation for the footers and where the columns sit. Dan, correct me if I'm
No, you're right.
butchering that. But they've been hard at work out there, and this is just for the next part of this. The money that this is, or the budget that this is coming out of is actually a different budget, so this will also have to go to Board of Works to be approved. So I'll be taking that to Board of Works as well, but wanted to get your approval. And I just realized we don't have John, and with Dan abstaining, can we take it to Board of Works and have them approve it? Since the money is coming out of that different line item?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have to, because we don't have a majority of the board here to vote
Right.
to approve it
Okay.
with Dan's abstention. So, yeah, I think you have to.
Okay, we'll take it to Board of Works and we'll get that in there for you.
When is John gonna be back?
I think he was just out
For a week?
for a week or so. It didn't sound like he was gonna be out next month, so he should be back next
Well, do we
month.
want to get our okay
I-
for this and then pick up John?
Well, I think we pass it to Board of Works, and they can vote and approve it, and they don't need to have our approval to do it.
Yep.
Okay, all
So,
right.
and that won't, and how long?
So that won't hold this up?
Next one is week from Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, a week from Friday, so we'll make sure we get that in,
Yeah, okay.
so. And that keeps things nice and clean.
Yeah.
I like that. Other than that, I don't have anything else unless you guys have specific questions for me.
Have we made any progress in regards to a A&P?
No.
Okay.
I've talked to 3 or 4 different firms, and there always seems to be a lot of interest up front, and then it doesn't really happen. We had one group that was somewhat interested, but they did not want to own the building, and they said if the airport purchased the building, that they would consider signing a lease agreement, but they were hesitant to put that down in paper and have any kind of a written commitment with that for me to present the board, because I explained to this group that, if the airport buys this building, we would be taking out a loan on that, and we would need some kind of a commitment up front to front those funds. It's not something we would be totally against, but we would need some kind of a guarantee that if we buy this, you'd be signing a lease pretty quickly about the day of the closing. So, to date, no. That's the short answer.
Was there reluctant, okay, they didn't want to own the building. Are they reluctant to commit to moving in if the building's available?
If the building was available, I think that they would be more interested in it, but coming up with the capital to just purchase it outright is something that a lot of small, AMPs are hard to find right now.
Yeah.
Most of the kids graduating from college are picked up by Pratt and Whitney or by GE or one of the other jet manufacturers. And they make $50 or $60 an hour building jet engines, and they have no stress, no overhead. They show up, clock in, go to work, clock out, go home. You own a small business, you're working all the time, you're doing the books, you're trying to keep customers happy and everything else, and a lot of, it's becoming harder and harder to find a good AMP to come in and fill that position. So it's something that, I've looked at a couple different ways. There are some airports, I take that back. There's 1 or 2 airports in the state that actually hire an AMP on staff, and they would be a staff member of the government unit. And then we as the city would own not only the FBO, but the maintenance contract on the field and offer that as a service. But that's a whole separate line of business that we would have to get set up, and I'm not opposed to doing it, but we'd have to front, I think it was, did the building appraised for about 425,000, plus all of the other overhead to get that shop up and running. So it'd be a substantial investment up front with, I think that it would return over time, but getting that kind of a business started would be hard. And right now, we've got our money tied up in a couple other projects that we just, unless the board's interested in going out and taking a loan out and working it that way, that'd be about the only way we could finance something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm interested in doing that right now until after we get past the power line project.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a big pill.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, our next meeting is July 13th, does that sound right?
Yep.
And hearing no other business to come before the board, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Mary. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.